All right. We're on day 143. For those of you that have not seen our latest podcast episode, you can check it out on youtube.com/ at Kent_HE. We brought in a contractor from the Kansas City market, Tyler Aiken. He's done over 400 renovations. And I think this would be a really good podcast for all of you to, one, understand the neighborhoods in the market, two, understand the costs that are associated with various types of rehabs, from how much does an electric panel replacement cost, HVAC replacement cost, kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, garage conversions, bedroom additions. All those are numbers that you should at least understand how to gauge whether or not you're within the right range of a rehab estimate, so that when you get these estimates, you know that, hey, at least you're within a certain range and you aren't getting ripped off. Now, just because this person has done 400 rehabs does not mean that their past performance is any indication of how they can perform in the future. So always do due diligence. Always figure out how you are able to keep track of and stay on top of your projects in every single market. Okay. All right. So next thing we want to do is we want to look at a property in Johnson County. And for Johnson County today, I just looked at properties under 300 grand. That's all it is. This property is in, where is this? Olathe, next near Walmart. That's good. Let's go out. Costco. This is just southwest of Kansas City, right here. And it's in Johnson County. So I know that this is an area where the contractor on the podcast, Tyler, mentioned that they typically have an easier, I wouldn't say easier, relatively more simple and straightforward process to get your permit. So why not? Let's go ahead and take a look into the area. So this property is on 419 North Cherry Street. And the first thing I do is I try engage the neighborhood. I don't love that there's a board at home right next door for the windows. Let's see. Let's keep driving down. Not bored. Where am I? Where is this place? Where am I going? It's a big office building right there. Huh, huge development. I mean, it's actually a big office building right here, so that's a good sign in terms of improvements. What is over here? We went down over here. Oh, can't really tell what's around here. Well, let's look at the crime score then. So when I go to the crime score, I just go to tophap.com and plug in the address, and I can go to the neighborhood section. And within the neighborhood section, usually you can see the crime score right over here. This is 81. So that's not bad at all, to be quite honest with you. 81 is perfectly reasonable. So I live in an area where it's like 88, 90. So that's what I use for my own baseline for those estimates. All right, let's check the condition of the property. So this property is a multi-family property, so 2-on-1. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, 200 grand, 250. I can probably get $1,000 for each rental. Maybe I'm closer to 1% rule. Let's see how it looks. This property looks pretty good for the most part. This unit looks pretty turnkey. Okay, how about the other one? The other property has, looks like it's renovated as well. There's some carpeting here. I wonder why they didn't do carpet for most of it. Maybe they're just trying to save on money. I mean, honestly, I would have just converted the carpet unless they're trying to hide something, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, for the most part, I don't think I need to repaint the place. 249,900, right? That's the 249, 249,000. Okay. Let's get the rents. So within Johnson County, if you remember where I shared it into the Facebook group on our affordable housing and real estate investing community, we have 2024 payment standards. These payment standards set 120% of the fair market rent. So usually what we do, and let me go through the old process, right? Unless you have better information, usually we Google HUD FMR and we click on access to small area FMRs. When you look at the FY 2024 FMRs, that's where we're able to capture the rents by city and by county. Then you get the zip code, in this case is 66061. You will get the rent, which I typically call is the rent ceiling by zip code by bedroom count. And you can see right here, it's 900 for a studio, 1,000 for a one bedroom, 1,150 for a two bedroom. So this 1,000 for the one bedroom seems really realistic. So let me kind of go ahead and write these numbers down. So SA 66061. Yeah. So this is 950, right? No, 900, sorry. 900, 1,000, 1,150, 1,500. Big jump from two bedroom to a three bedroom. 1,770. Okay. All right. Then I want to get the payment standards. And this includes utilities, right? 1182, 1317, 1509, 1974, and 2317. Usually, if you have payment standards and you're not covering certain utilities or appliances, such as refrigerators, you have to deduct the utility allowance from the payment standard. So if you ever want to, let's say, not provide water, then for a one bedroom, you have to deduct $40, right? Using this number, one bedroom. Actually, they might have separate numbers for detached house. So right here, detached house. So if your one bedroom, well, actually, this is a multifamily, excuse me. So this is a duplex, which is this one. You have to deduct $47 from the payment standard of 1317 if you do not cover water, right? And that's slowly how you calculate your max rent. For me today, for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna assume that there's $300 set aside for utilities, and I'm gonna use the fair market rent here for $1,000. Honestly, I'm just doing this because remember, the goal of this exercise is not to be pinpoint accurate. The goal of this exercise is for you to figure out whether or not it's worth your time to underwrite this deal at even a greater depth of detail. Why? Because we're trying to avoid burnout, guys. We're trying to avoid burnout. You will see from this underwriting video alone today, we're probably going to spend about 18 to 30 minutes. In order for you to avoid burnout, usually burnout is from you working excessively with no results, right? There's no gratification. There's no indication that you're moving along the right way. You're just doing the work every day, and sometimes you never know when that deal is going to come. So for me, it's really important to figure out how quickly do I decide whether it's worth my time or not. So for me, this is where I draw the line. I don't go into like, okay, 1317 is the payment standard, and I'm not going to be providing water or sewer, so I got to deduct 47 and 166. And I don't know if I should provide a refrigerator or not. Should I provide a microwave and a range? I don't know. Right? You start getting into all these questions, and you have to ask yourself, hey, do I really need this level of accuracy? Because if $100 or $18 or $21 is going to make or break a deal, well, chances are it's not going to be a deal, right? So just think about it from that perspective. All right. All right. So the next thing we want to do is now that we've got a payment standards and we have the fair market rents, we're going to go get the market rents, because don't forget, we still have the rent reasonableness test, which means that if the market rent is significantly lower than what the payment standards are or lower than the fair market rent, well, you can't charge more to a housing choice voucher holder simply because they're a voucher holder, right? For obvious anti-discriminatory reasons. Let's see. This is loading right now. We'll give it a second. And then let me start the spreadsheet at one bedroom. I want to write down all the rents because my partners already know how I analyze and research deals. See, 1283 is a county, 1311 is a city, 1298 is a zip. And then the most important number is right here, 1253. It's saying that within a 0.44 mile radius for 9 units that are one bedroom, the average rents for one bedroom is 1253. That is well above what I'm seeing, right? That's well above the 1,000 FMR. And it's also really close to the payment standard of 1317. So this makes me feel pretty good that I can get a rent about 1,200 or 1,100 if that's what I choose. But today, let me underwrite using 1,000, and then I'll probably do another estimate. Let's say if I use a payment standard, let's see. If I use a payment standard at, just do this exercise. When you guys can see this math. So let's do water, sewer. If I don't provide water and sewer, if I do provide I I do provide trash. Well, actually, let me not provide trash. And don't provide gas. I don't provide air conditioning because I don't want someone just leaving on. I don't provide gas for cooking, which is natural gas. Let's do -8. Cooking gas. Heating gas is 47. Heating gas, 47. -47. I'm putting all these negative numbers in here right now. Air conditioning. Sewer, -66. Water, -47. I am providing the range. I am providing a refrigerator. I don't mind doing that. A gas customer charge of $18, -18. I don't provide trash. That's gonna be $44. So if I do total payment standard, subtracting utilities not provided, that's going to be equals to the payment standard of 1317 plus the sum of all these negative numbers, 47, etc. 1,069. That's my max rent if I don't provide utilities. So slightly higher than the 1,100, the 1,000, but only by about $70. So for the rent today, I'm going to do equals 1,069 times 2 because it's a duplex with 2 units. All right, makes sense? Cool. All right, so if my asking price is $249,000, and for my rehab on this property, I'm going to assume that I'll set aside $1,500 for the roof. I'll set aside $5 for landscaping, keeping the place clean while I'm getting it rent ready. I don't need to paint any of the place. I don't need to refloor any. I don't need to refinish any flooring. Now there is a small carpet area. I'm gonna assume that's about 300 square feet for that carpet and the bedroom area in that 1-bedroom unit. That's 2,400. I don't need to renovate any kitchens. I don't need to do any bathroom remodels. I'm assuming the water heater is okay because it looks renovated, and I'm assuming there's no termite issues. That gives me about a $5,300 rehab on this property to kind of get it to where I would like it to. Remove some of the edits I did yesterday. At 2,138, let's go ahead and get the other expenses. 2,138, we're gonna have property taxes $153, so that's 153 right here. And my insurance is going to be 162 equals 162. And I'll multiply it by 20% because usually those estimates are a little bit under. And this is going to be an investment property. So I'm going to multiply by 1/2 to add a 20% premium to it. All right, I got 10% for my war chest. I got 10% for property management. I got 5% for vacancy on this property. This property, assuming that I'm going to put in a 25% down at a 8% interest rate, my loan is going to equals to the asking price minus the down payment, and I would be financing $186,750. And this is going to assume that I'm starting this property at 2/15/2024, or just do some updated numbers. Okay. Assuming 2.5% for closing costs, I got my renovations in there. Right now, this property as is will cash flow 2,000. I mean, it's going to cash flow -$115, -115. That was assuming our rent is 2138, and I think that was already the max rent based on how we calculate it. So the rent cannot go any higher, right? Okay. Now the question you're going to ask is, well, what set of terms will make it a deal? So the first thing I typically do is just updating one variable at a time. All right. When you update one variable at a time, you try to figure out, okay, what price would have made it a deal if this was a 1-1 duplex going forward? Okay, let's go ahead and mess with the asking price. If let's say your target cash and cash return is 10%, what price do you need to buy it at to make it at 10% cash and cash return? 150, 160, 155. See how this number kept changing? So I now know that if I can get this deal at 155,000 for a relatively turnkey duplex, assuming my rehab is about 5,300, assuming my down payment is 25% down at 8% interest rate, and my mortgage stayed my rent stayed the same for the both the units at 2138, well, I can cash flow 400 bucks, 403 a month. That's 10.1% cash and cash return. And at $155,000 is the deal. What do you just do? You just figure out your buy box for a duplex with 2-1-1s. Right? This is how you figure out your buy box. This is how you don't spend time. If I ever see another quote unquote turnkey duplex with 2 1-bedroom, 1-bath units, I would not buy it unless it's 155 grand or lower. Right? Let me show you how, as economic conditions change, what might that do? What if my interest rate is now, let's just cost 6.5%. Let's say it went down a little bit, right? How does that affect my cash and cash return? When I was at 13%. So now I want to up my purchase price because I want to see what's the max I can afford for this property if the market conditions change. If you argue like, hey, 9.6 is close enough, at 6.5% interest rate, well, now I'm willing to pay 175 grand. Why? Because I'm still cash flowing $427, and that's a 9.6% cash and cash return. Everything else is the same, except my interest rate is 6.5% interest rate. Let me highlight this number so you guys can all see it. Oops. There you go. There you go. And this is going to be really important because as interest rates go up and down, you also need to understand your buy box changes, right? So don't be so inflexible that you're like, oh, so what if interest rates go down? What does that really mean? This is what it means. You're now willing to pay extra 20 grand for the property if your cash and cash return is 10% and your interest rate went down by 1.5%. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. This is important because your buy box doesn't stay the same. Your buy box adjusts up or down depending on the economic conditions of the property or the market. So the next thing you want to do is, well, we always learn about creative finance deals. And so you might be wondering, okay, well, what if I'm able to get this deal on a creative deal? Let's see if there's even an underlying loan in place on this deal so that we can see where now we can offer a creative set of terms. Now, when you are looking for a creative finance deal, typically how you would pitch it to a seller is, well, I can give you the price that you want if you give me the terms that you're looking for. So we have to go back to the original purchase price of 249, and you might say, hey, Mr. Seller or Miss Seller, I can give you the terms, the price that you're looking for. You give me the terms that will work for me. So what terms will work for us? Let's go ahead and look it up in PropStream. And usually if you Google the address and you click on details, you can see whether there's an underlying loan in place. And you can see that this property has an underlying loan in place, a conventional loan that started in 9/22/2023 for 360 months. So 9/22/2023. And this loan was for $175,000. And the interest rate was 7%. So in order for you to figure out how much seller equity portion is you're gonna take the selling price minus the down payment minus the loan balance, and in this case, the loan balance was 174,400 or 171,100. Sorry, just using a rough math. So there's still $12,000 of equity for that piece if the seller was able to finance it to you. Well, in this case, you can see that the cash and cash return right now is less than 1%. Can you adjust or upwards or downwards the down payment to make it a deal? No, you can't because your monthly payment's too much. It does not exceed your rent for the month. So you can't offer $249,000 with a creative set of terms, which means that you will be taking over this loan subject to and then having the seller finance or equity portion. It just doesn't work because no matter what set of terms you come up with, it does not cash flow for what you're looking for, unless somehow your rents go up through a different exit strategy, such as a midterm rental, an Airbnb, whatever it is. But it's going to be hard pressed to turn it into a deal if your exit strategy is Section 8, which is following the payment standards that has been established by the housing authority for the scenario. So for me, there's no set of terms, even creatively, that will make it a deal at $249,000. And that's how I know it's not worth my time to pitch creative to a seller. Just remember, just because you can pitch creative, just because it's a creative finance deal, does not mean it's a deal. We cannot get so caught up looking for a creative financing just because we can say, oh, I close a creative deal. It doesn't make sense if you're losing money every single month. It doesn't. I don't want an investment that loses money every single month. Not unless the appreciation is really, really high, which I don't think that this is the market where a duplex with 211 is going to appreciate that much more. So again, this is not investment advice. This is not a solicitation for any investments at all. I'm simply showing you all the work that's taking place every single day in my life. I analyze the deal every single day as part of my daily habits. And frankly, this is the not so fun part of real estate investing. People talk about hundreds and thousands of units that they have, and they never fail to disclose how many deals they actually analyze every single day. And this is the uncool part of real estate. There's no flashing Lamborghinis or fancy cars or fancy houses here. We're just doing the work together. And the reason I do this is because we're building the largest affordable housing investment community in the United States. And I understand that in order to build leaders within our community, we have to pour into one another first. So today, people ask me all the time, and I get DMs like this about, hey, where should I look for Section 8 properties? Where should I invest in? What should I do? Well, first, you have to understand your strengths. If you don't like analyzing deals, then maybe you become a closer for a team and you just lock down deals. Maybe you become a capital raiser for a team if you don't like underwriting deals. You have to understand what gives you energy every single day because that's the only way you're going to keep going on this. A lot of people quit real estate due to burnout. And usually it's because they're doing things that does not give them energy or does not make them feel fulfilled. I get fulfillment every day when I see people give a thank you and say, hey, this was really helpful. Thank you for helping me analyze the deal. Do I get anything out of that? I get the emotional income. And that to me is worth more than any amount of financial compensation. I never ever want to get to a place where I live in a big fancy house and I'm sitting in the backyard and I'm depressed. I don't want that. For me to avoid that and having learned from some mentors out there who have told me stories like that, the best way to feel fulfillment is to serve others. And this is the abundance mindset that I always talk about. There's a reason I brought on a contractor onto the podcast and say, hey, this person has done 400 rehabs and they have formerly worked as a Section 8 inspector. Some folks might say, wow, I'm going to keep this resource all to myself because I don't want anybody else booking him. Because if they're doing jobs for him, then he can't do a job for me. And I can't believe how many people out there think like that because that's a scarcity mindset. Well, I talk about the go-giver mentality, but then we always hold all these resources to ourselves because we think if we give it away, it's going to be less for us and for me. I'm hoping to lead by example, and I'm sharing all the resources with you because I understand how scary it is to get started. It's so scary. It really is. And as soon as you embrace it, then you start figuring out, okay, now I at least can pick what to do next. And today, I analyze all these deals live and I share the spreadsheets with all of you. And this is a spreadsheet I got from other folks, and I just combine it to meet my own underwriting approach. But I share this with all of you because I want you all to be able to copy exactly what I'm doing. This is just as if you are copying homework from somebody else, but at least it makes you take a step towards the right path. And you get to create credibility for yourself, create confidence for yourself. Because if you just spend 18 minutes with me every single day, just listen to how I just analyzed this deal. I bet if you just pick one section, one sentence, and just say it better than I did, and put it on your own YouTube channel, and you analyze the deal every single day with me for 365 days, you will be better at analyzing deals than 95% of America just by copying homework. Wow. Isn't that crazy? But it's so achievable and it's so tangible. And I really hope that when it comes time for you to pull a trigger on your deal, you will feel a little bit more confident. You will feel a little bit more brave because you can look back at your own track history and say, hey, I know what I'm doing. I've been underwriting a deal every single day for the past year. So when I see a deal and I know how conservative I underwrite these deals, and I know it's a deal, chances are it's a deal because I've been doing the work. And if a partner ever asks you, hey, why do you think this is the deal? Well, at that point in time, you can direct them to your own YouTube channel and say, well, I know this is a deal because I looked at the past 100 deals and they were all not deals. Might that give you and your partner a little bit more confidence in what you're doing? I certainly hope so. Because this is the work and there's no getting around it. So at the end of the day, we always say, hey, I just want to help people. Anybody ever said that, right? Super generic. But how often have you thought about, well, who do I want to help and how do I want to help them? I have chosen to help people through affordable housing by providing beautiful homes that they can have dignity in where they live so that their kids can have a safe roof over their heads. And we give these families a chance to thrive, just like I did when I grew up in affordable housing. Had I never had the home I grew up in, I would have never been the person that I am today. This thing that we take for granted every single day of having a safe roof over our heads is not an option for some families. And that's something we can all do something about. So thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. Thank you so much for being part of the affordable housing and real estate investing community. I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm so grateful that you guys tune in and spend some time with me so that we can all get better together, so that it feels a little bit less lonely every single day. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's keep doing it together. This is day 143. I love all of you. Please just do it with me. Stay consistent with me, and that will compound. I know in entrepreneurship, sometimes we're doing all this work and we have zero idea when a payoff is going to come or if it will ever come. There's no guarantees in life, but when you focus on the habits and your daily actions instead of the outcome, I think you will find some more joy, some more fulfillment, and some more company when you do it with each other. So analyze deals with me every day. Talk to people every day. See how you can help them. And DM me on Instagram at investwithkenny anytime you need any help. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. Spend some quality time with your family and friends today. Don't forget what life is about. It's about spending that quality time. This is why we do this. So have an amazing Tuesday, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.